we're live, guys. We're only nearly 4 hours late, but don't worry about it. That's our usual timing when we start tonight, guys. This is a late show simply because we have got the one, the only, the David Deans from the Unseen Realm. David, it's such an honour to have you. How you doing, my friend?
I am doing great. It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Definitely.
I've been excited for this one because I've wanted you for ages on the show and for you to meet these guys, because if there's one person on my friends list that I just love on a Friday and it always pops up, is you, David, and I absolutely love your Friday posts and how positive they are. Really, I love it. Hiya, Cliff. Hi, Christine.
Good evening, Christine.
Right, I'll share it. How's everybody's week been?
Really good. Really good.
I'm glad somebody does.
What's wrong, Bri?
We've been stuck in dungeon. Been stuck in dungeon, haven't we?
They say that I adopted them, David. I adopted them. That's what they mean. I think they get the two mixed up.
Be careful. Be careful. She's got you on the show now. You're next.
Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot.
So do you want to tell the guys about yourself, David, and about the team?
Sure. I'll tell you a little bit about it. Well, Dustin, he's really my brother, not my physical brother, blood brother, but we're brothers, definitely. He's a friend of mine that investigates with me, and he wasn't able to be here obviously tonight, which is unfortunate. But definitely though, we've been doing it for 7 years. Me and him have been, we started the Unseen Realm about 7 years ago. And I have personally been investigating a little over 10 years, actually, which is crazy because the time just goes by, when you think about it. But no, me and Dustin, we started the Unseen Realm about 7 years ago. And there has been a lot of changes. First off, I will tell you a little bit about us and what we're based on and everything. But I am a believer in the Lord Jesus Christ. Absolutely 100%. It's kind of crazy how it happened, but it turned around. We used to just investigate, right? We used to just investigate, communicate and all that stuff. But it turned around, and now it's based on the Lord. We go into a place and we talk to those human spirits about the Lord, and there's just a lot of different things that have happened. A lot of different things that have happened since we started doing that. But that's what we do. That's what we're based on. We're based on the Lord, and going in there showing respect 100%. I'll even go in there and open up about my life, open up about my life and get personal, but but we've been doing it 7 years, and it's been a journey. I'll say that it has been a journey. Experienced a lot of crazy stuff over the years. Yep.
That's
what type of investigating do you do? Do you is it just personal, or do you use gadgets?
Well, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I have a lot of equipment. Spirit boxes, all that stuff. I really don't use it much anymore. I keep it all just in case. And whoever's with me at the time, some people may want to use it, and that's absolutely fine. But me personally, anymore, I just walk around with the camera and I talk. That's all I do. Yeah. I will bring a voice recorder with me sometimes, but the camera is a recorder too, so, but that's what I'll do. And again, my whole basis isn't there to talk about the history or what they've experienced or what they've been through, because a lot of them went through horrible things as it is. but the mission that we're there for, and that's to talk about the Lord to them. And that's my basis. But no, I don't use the gadgets. I just go in there, walking and talking from the heart, and the responses are crazy. I mean, amazing. It's just, but that's basically what I do anymore.
Do you know what, David? I've never ever heard them taking it from that stance. So that's quite good, and it's quite good that you get the responses as well. What kind of responses do you get, David, from it?
Well, you know what? We've gotten a lot of what I believe demonic trickery, a lot of that as well. A lot of them kind of voices. But a lot anymore, what I'm trying to say is, since we've turned it around and since it's been based on the Lord now, we're getting a lot more, I believe, the positive human responses more. A lot more help me, what I'm saying? Like a lot of help me, save me, just these responses, a lot of it has changed. It really has. But a lot of times we get negative. I think whenever I go through a location and we're going through the footage, we're getting both. We're getting the positive and the negative, both of them. So yeah, but I can tell you what, in the past, gotten some crazy responses. I mean, negative responses, like just downright raunchy responses. You know what I mean? Just yeah.
That's because you've got a crush on you, David.
Well, hey, I mean, but you guys know what I mean. The spiritual realm is way bigger than us, and that is a thing. Like it is, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. Yeah. But
I think,
but no, the response.
Spirits know. Spirits know when you're genuine, and as long as you're genuine, that's when you get responses.
Absolutely, you are absolutely right. Absolutely. You know what? Yeah. I got to tell you guys. We can say it. We can say anything on here, right?
Yeah.
Oh, listen. As I said, Dave, this is a no holds bar.
Listen. I'm not saying anything bad. But no. I'm actually going to be putting the footage out tonight later on. But there is this one. I do smoke. I do smoke. So, and I got called out for it. Actually, I was in the old farmhouse by myself, and I said, it's kind of funny, but I go to move the camera, and you can hear the response clearly. It says, "You smell like marijuana." That's what it says. So, straight up. Yep. And that's the thing. That is funny. It is funny, but. But that place was special. It was, because we were actually there for 2 weekends, 4 days, and each time just got better. But that place was never investigated. Never. We were the first ones, from my knowledge, to ever go in there. So when I first started going through the footage, it was what I was picking up on was they didn't know who I was. I got some get outs, they didn't know who I was, but then I got, we like you. So, but I think, and then one said, kid, get out of here. That's what it said. Kid, get out of here. They called me a kid. So, but they knew that I was there to respect them. And I absolutely was. I was there for a mission, like I said. So, but what you said though was absolutely correct. When you go in there and you're genuine with things, you know what I mean? That's when it happens. That's it. See, because you know what, I've had it before too, where I go in there, and this was a long time ago, but I went to a place where there was a lot of evil, and they had called me out, and I wanted responses, so I came back and I was taunting them basically, and I had an attachment because of that. I learned not to do that. It's never a good idea. But I'm not this. Yeah. Yep.
No, you go, honey.
Oh, but no, but I'm not. But I'm not like that. I wasn't a taunting person, but because of the situation, they. I got a clear response that said, "David Dean, give yourself to." Wait, yeah, David Dean, give yourself to us. And I wanted answers, so I went back and I was calling them every name in the book. I said, "I'm here." I said, "I want answers," and they came back with me. And then it wasn't because it was later on when it started getting darker in my life. But yeah, it was. I believe I had some evil that absolutely came back with me. You know.
Oh wow. Christine's got a question for you, David. David, are you sensitive in any ways? Do you feel presence?
You know what? I don't really go off of any of that kind of thing. I just I look at it since I base everything on the Lord. I base it on His Spirit and everything. He guides me basically. A lot of times if I go to a place, if I feel led, like a lot of times the basement, where a lot of people don't want to go, the basements and stuff. I love those areas. But it's just certain areas where I'll feel led and where I'll stay at. And okay, like for instance, the farmhouse, that farmhouse, I did go down the basement, but something was messing with me down there and I just didn't really feel led to stay down there. So I ended up being in the living room and upstairs in the rooms upstairs. So that's where I was at the whole time. Cause I felt led to go there, but no, I don't. I just go by the heart, by the Lord. And that's, where I feel led to go,
Well, actually, you've answered your own question, because in that respect, you must be sensitive because you're being led to a certain area.
I mean, I guess I mean, I don't know. I guess I just never really look at it that way. I just go in there and I got that mission on my mind, and and just like the history, a lot of people go in and they're thinking about the history and stuff. I don't focus on any of that. I just go in there and I don't know who I'm speaking with, and but I go in there with faith in the Lord and and His protection and just going at it. So.
I suppose that's where entertainment side comes on from me. I'm not. I don't go in, and I haven't investigated the locations that I do. I just drop on them, so I've got no history of it in that respect. It's natural. It comes natural, knowing an architecture, so I can sort of say what era the building comes from, roughly. Yeah. Not exactly. Yeah. So I ain't got it exactly. I ain't got it taped in that respect, history-wise. But I do talk a bit of history. I'll walk around the building, especially my churches, and I'll give a rough idea of what era they come from and this that other, and that's purely for my audience.
Yeah.
But other than that, I wing it.
Yeah, I like to go in blind as well. I don't like to know history of anywhere I go, especially not private cases.
Yeah.
All directions. If you know stuff before you go, it's best to go blind.
Yeah, I just really feel that, and what we've done personally, me and Dustin, that a lot of those human spirits, I believe, just they don't really want to talk about their past and stuff. I've come to really learn that they really, I feel they want to talk. They want to hear from you. They want to hear about your life and positive, good things. Because again, some of the places like that we've gone to, the history's bad. Like the things that went on there, obviously, and a lot of them I believe don't want to talk about it. And I don't. I'll even tell them. I'll say, if you want to tell me about your life, you can. I'm here to listen to you, absolutely, but you don't have to. That's not the basis why I'm here. And. But I, again, being real with them, being honest, the responses are amazing. When you go in there and open up the heart, And I'll get personal with them.
It depends on location that you're at. Sometimes you do, and sometimes you get nothing. But I can sense them because I'm a sensitive, so I can see them watching me, and I'm thinking, "Are you going to talk to me?" And no, we're not talking. You're going to have to do all the talking.
Nah.
Cliff says, on playback of camera footage, have you ever heard voices you did not hear on the night, David?
Loads.
Yeah,
That's
always.
part of course, I think, isn't it?
Oh yes, yeah. Well, see, I'll be. You know what? Half of the time, or the good majority of the time that me and Dustin have been doing this, we don't hear the stuff with our ears. Most of it is when we go back through the footage. Now, I will say this again: that the farmhouse that I was just mentioning that I'm going through now, I did hear voices with my own ears. It has happened at some other places, but it's rare. It doesn't happen that often. But at the farmhouse, I'll give an example. I did ask a very simple question. I said, "Do you want to be saved?" And I heard a legit female voice with my ears say yes. I mean, complete. And then there was a male voice following. I couldn't make out what was said exactly, but I heard it with my ears. And that's what's amazing, these responses. But most of the time, we don't hear much with our ears. It's when we go back through the footage, what we're picking up there. And sometimes it's unfortunate because I wish that, you know, if I heard them say, "Please stay" or something, you know, I wish I knew, because then I would stay. But I don't know. Sometimes I look at it too, like you just kind of have that feeling like you just need to be here, you know, or there, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, most of the footage, most of what we hear is going back through the footage though. So
Do you know it's amazing the amount that we don't actually pick up on because we're too involved on what's going on about us, and it isn't until you actually do the footage after you've been and you think, "Oh my God, how did I miss this?" or "How didn't I hear this?" or "Oh, when did that happen?" I like the excitement after the investigation. Sorry, that's my youngest kitten. That's Uranus. She just wants to be in the middle of the camera. Cliff said, "Not all fallen angels are bad demons." Hiya, Kelly. Eric says that's what happens when you provoke. Kelly says, "Be back. Right back. Got to feed critters, otherwise they might eat me, lol." Hurry back, Kelly. Hiya, Jacqueline. Hiya, Jane. So you investigated, if I'm right, I can remember this actually. Did you investigate Bobby Mackey's?
Oh, somewhere I'd love to go.
Yes.
You
know what?
Because I think it's on one of my other shows.
Yeah. That place has a lot of darkness. There is a lot of darkness there.
Oh wow!
But now again, when we went there, I wasn't basing anything on the Lord or talking about him. We were just going there and investigating. But I gotta tell you, that was Dustin's very first place he ever investigated. Very first.
Oh wow! Really?
Was Bobby
Was
Mackey's. Yep. That's where me and him started. I had it all set up, and I asked him. I said, "Hey, you wanna go with me?" And he was all excited, you know. And you should have seen it. I wish you could have seen it. He was getting touched, you know, like he was getting touched. You know, he felt it had to be something taller than him because it was like rubbing his head. He said it was like felt like something was massaging his head, you know, behind him.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was crazy. But there's a lot of, like I said, evil there too. The responses that I've gotten, very negative in certain areas. The basement's very, very dark. I don't know about now. I may go down there and not feel this way, but most of the time when you would go in that basement, you would feel very uncomfortable, you know, just not very, not threatened. But just
I need to talk to David about that, because when you do it, I got a lot of information from that place
Eric,
off an episode of somebody that Ian doesn't like very much.
Zach Baggins.
yeah.
Yeah, your friend. But
Apparently, half of America don't like him at the moment, but there you go.
true. But that episode, I got a hell of a lot from it, especially underbelly of that place where a lot of the untoward stuff went off. Mostly Chinese. I can't set name at the group that used to run it, but yeah, loads of different levels in that place. Loads of different levels, and apparently there's tunnels that stretch underneath Main Street into other buildings across the way. So, I need you to check that out.
Take a spade.
Like I said, that place, that place is amazing though. I will tell you, I guess I will. I did get some responses one time. And I'm not saying anything bad about them at all, because I love and respect everybody. That's really how I am. But I did ask a question about Zach one time, Zach Bagans one time there. And I said, what do you think about him? And I did this twice, actually. I will be honest. I did it twice. 2 times when I went there. And I got the same response, said, don't like him. Very clear.
Yeah.
And it was like a very clear, like I said, straight up response. Don't like him, just the really, yeah. And but again, that place, I believe there's good and evil everywhere, and always present, good and evil. So there's good there too, but I would say a big majority of what goes around about that place is definitely bad, and especially because some of the history and the events, that went on there too. Yeah, but it's a great place. Highly active.
Eric says you're reading. Sorry, Nick, could you go my love?
No, I was just going to say, sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. I had to take care of something right before I got on.
I think you're telling me Porcupine, you're only 25.
David, I gotta say, it's a pleasure to finally meet you face to face.
Hey, pleasure to meet you too, man. Absolutely. Yes. I'm happy to be on
you're
here.
reading my post way too far from the comments someone makes. Sorry, I'm not as quick as Nick with these comments. Didn't have fun tonight. Hi, didn't stupid phone. Christine's asking David, is that where the well is, David, in the Bobby Mackey's?
Yeah, that's the well. Yeah.
Yep, it is. I've been there too.
It is. It's
a well we need to put you in, Lois, because whatever there is really demonic. So you might scare me.
Listen, you asshole. See if God asked me to sacrifice one of yours, you first, you fucker.
Yeah, but he's on my side, just like David. So.
See what I've got to put up with on a Friday night, David, and you wonder why I love your posts.
Oh, shoot.
Wait till he gets
you know what? Speaking of that well, though, I will say I did do the last time I was there, actually, I was down in the basement by myself, right by the well, actually. There's like a little, not a fence, but, like a little, keep so you don't fall in and stuff. Well, I climbed over it and I had a REM pod. And I was asking, I said, are you good? And I got no responses, you know what I mean? And then I said, are you evil? And that thing lit up. I'm talking beep, 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 lighten up massively. And it did it twice. Yeah. So there was, that, and again, you go down in that basement, there is a lot of uncomfortable feeling from that place, from there. Absolutely.
See,
But
it's interesting. It's interesting you brought that up because when I went to Bobby Mackey's, like this was over 10 years ago now, and for us, it was completely the opposite. I mean, yes, we did have that uncomfortable feeling like when we were in the basement, but we didn't get a lot of the activity. Like, for example, like there were no possessions or anything like that. It was actually relatively quiet. Now, I know it is typical for such locations like that where some nights it may be very active and some nights it's not. Perhaps most likely maybe it was just a night that we chose that there was just not much activity. But for us, it was the opposite when we were there. I never have given up on Bobby Mackey's, but I would be willing to investigate it again, if I had the chance.
what did you what did you think of Carl's room?
Oh, well, I will start off with this. When did you go? What time this season did you go to Bobby Mackey's?
Well, most of the time we would go there in the fall,
Okay, that was kind of our mistake. We went during the summer, and oh my God, I cannot even tell you how incredibly hot that room was. I mean, it was like a sauna. I don't think we stayed in that room for no more than 10 minutes because it was like the hottest part of this building. And again, this is the height of summer. It was like 60% or 70% humidity. It was like 80 degrees outside that night. So it was an interesting room, but we definitely came in at the wrong time because it was so damn hot in that room.
Yeah,
Eric,
that I could see that. I could definitely see it getting hot in there during the summer. Yes.
Oh, it's like completely indescribable. I can't even describe it to you.
Oh,
Eric
shoot.
says, no, we don't like beginnings, the wee hobbit. Welcome, Nick. Lois, I
Excellent.
seen your cat walk or jump over. She's a wee rascal. This is her time of night that she's hyperactive. I swear to God, she's got ADHD. Hey, Nick, I know Viv was going to be mad at me, but send me the link, right? 2 minutes, Eric. Cliff wants to ask you a question, David. Do spirit connect with you, David, in your dreams?
Well, I will. Yes, I guess you could say it has happened. But again, the basis of what I was saying about me and everything, we're based on the Lord, basically, and those principles. So I believe this was from him, but I did have, what do you call it when you're asleep, and you might be dreaming, but it's a reality like happening? What is that called? Like
Is
you know what I'm
that
talking
no
about?
lucid dreaming? Lucid dreaming?
Well, I don't know. All I know is it was really happening though, because I remember I could barely move. I could barely move and I could barely talk. And there was a legit, I mean, I remember seeing it. It was a legit demon. And it was coming at me, like trying to kill me basically. And I remember I couldn't speak hardly or move. It had control over me.
That's actually sleep paralysis.
Yeah, sleep paralysis, which you usually would associate with.
Yeah. Well, all I know is it was coming at me, and I could barely speak, but I remember I was starting to call on the Lord, and I just woke up and like, boop, it stopped, just like that. So I learned two things, I learned two things: that evil is, never underestimate it. But I also learned too that the Lord is greater. So I learned two things, and I believe that was legit for me to know. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a lot of dreams though, with based on that often though.
Well, David, I'm not gonna lie, but and Lois, I should probably tell you this too, but I actually just had an experience like that was similar just a few days ago. Like, I'm not even
really?
I actually had something like that occurred. Though, in my opinion, it actually was something I feared may have followed me home from a place, which, David, I know you're from Ohio. It actually is from a location in Ohio. However, it's I don't want to give out the name because it's actually a private residence, but it was somewhere in Ohio. Yeah, it was a house that we visited, although we never actually stepped foot into the house because, again, being a private residence, we just kind of took a stop for a sec, stayed there for a minute. But I honestly believe whatever was in that house actually followed me back. It's the only other thing I can really give because, again, I don't want to try to get too much attention, but it's even been on an episode of Paranormal Witness. And I fear whatever those people went through was the same type of entity that came after me. And I had that feeling of being attacked like you were.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I totally get it. Yeah.
So what were you doing in Ohio, Lois?
Well, it was a wee bit like this. I was looking at Nick's diary and I thought, I fancy a wee day trip to Ohio. And then I just happened to, follow Nick home. And then next thing you know, I was haunting him. That's it. This is all because they won't take me to North Carolina.
Yes. It's a dream me and Bri have as well, funny enough.
But what about you other guys? Have you ever had the experience with sleep paralysis?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
No, I haven't. But then again, I don't remember my dream. So if I had it, I wouldn't have known about it.
I had to,
only once, and I was very, very young. I was only 9 years old again when I first started my journey through paranormal. I was just laid in bed trying to get to sleep, couldn't get to sleep, and I felt something grab my leg.
Oh, wow.
I hadn't got a clue. And I was panicking inside. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't. I just could not move. And eventually I did, because I was being dragged out of bed. But eventually I screamed. And it just disappeared, whatever it were.
Eris.
See, that's typical. And that's typical of sleep paralysis because I've had it myself. And there are feels of like when you're going through sleep paralysis, it's not always just waking up that you can't move. There are times where people feel like they're being pulled out of bed or they got that feeling on their chest, the old hag syndrome, as they sometimes call it. And sleep paralysis is often associated, like with ghostly visitations, alien abductions, demonic possessions, or shadow people in a way. So there's kind of been a real question is sleep paralysis kind of in a way kind of because it's somewhat in association with the paranormal subject because you're seeing, like not only can you not wake up and not move, but you're seeing, rather intimidating or terrifying entities in the room because it's not, it's not dangerous, but it can be a pretty terrifying experience.
Exactly. Most people that claim to have been abducted, alien abductions, they all suffer with the same sort of thing. They can't move. And they have all these things done to them. Next thing they know, they wake up and they're back in their own surroundings. So, yeah, it's more common than people realize.
Yeah. See, here we got an example right here with Christine.
This is where me and Nick play tennis for a bit to see.
Yep.
On you go, Nick.
The way they're looking at my partner fast asleep next to me, begging him to help me. I truly thought I was going to die with the way that was on my chest. Yep. See, that's what makes it so frightening when you have something like that. Although the strange part is that even though most people can never really move, apparently the eyes can still move. So you have some kind of motion. Other than the eyes, you can't move anything else.
But that's what we're investigating at the moment because it seems to happen in what they call REM sleep, which is the deepest part of your sleep, which is not very long through night, to be honest. So they're thinking that it's linked to that because that's when it tends to happen. But saying that,
Hey, if you guys hear a squeaking toy, that's Spirit. She's
I know I could hear the squeaky noise. I was like, oh, he's got to show me. He's got to show me Spirit. Where is she? Show me Spirit. I love her.
I thought it was a child at first.
Yeah.
No.
Well, and also the way I want to say about sleep paralysis, like what you were just saying, Bryce, usually it's the result of a, as they call it, an emergency response system that activates in your brain when it occurs. So when the paralysis starts, that's when the emergency response is activated. And in addition to a few other things, that's what can sometimes generate the hallucinations.
Yeah.
Well, I'm having a lot of hallucinations then because it happens to me when I don't take my one meds almost every night.
Right.
I think
That must be a scary thing.
Oh,
I think there was actually a documentary film that was made a few years ago. I think it was called like Nightmares. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it focused on people who had either like horrific nightmares or those who suffered from sleep paralysis and what they remember from their visits, from their hallucinations. I've never seen the film, but I heard it's actually kind of creepy to watch.
I must admit.
I think some of it as well, you know, is it's the brain. It's the brain's way of coping sometimes with the situation that you've gone through. And you're just formulating a story in your head, and it happens through REM sleep, and it comes about as paralysis because your body just doesn't know how to respond. You're in a state of sleep, so how can you flee? Is that what's the word? Fright or flight?
Yeah, fight or fright. Yeah, response.
Yeah,
fight or flight.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
It's interesting.
But my nightmares.
Sorry about that, guys.
Right. My nightmares are so real that it really feels like they're happening. Like I've had maybe about 10 alien ones, and a lot of times they're like continuously going, like a dream that I'm dreaming that I'm dreaming. You know?
Yeah.
Nightmares are horrible. I mean, the only time, through my life, I've never had nightmares until obviously I got PTSD, and my nightmares are just so bad. Like the other night was actually so bad. And it was like, I don't know about you guys, right? But this has happened to me quite a few times recently. Is if I'm having nightmares, what wakes me up is, I don't know, because my grand's always with me all the time. You know, that's how I know that a psychic's genuine, if they bring up my granny, because there's only certain psychics that have managed to do that. And one we had on the Simply Spooky show, me and Viv, who I would really love to come on Fright-ners as well, is Ad. I absolutely love Ad. And what happens to me when I come out of nightmares is it's though somebody's chatting my front door, and that's what wakes me, because I think there's somebody at my front door, but there's nobody chatting my door, and that's became a regular occurrence. And when I had my nightmares the other night, I woke up thinking somebody was chatting my door. So I don't know if that's somebody's way trying to pull me out it. And I'm asked, but when I had the experience of sleep paralysis was 20 years before, but who knows, I suffer from breathing problems, so could be hallucinations through the lack of air. Maybe, Christine, it could be. So where is your favourite location, David, and everybody you've ever explored?
Well, to be honest, I really don't. I can't say my favorite because to me they're all equal, but they're all different. You know what I mean? I've been asked that before. You know, what's your favorite place? But it's hard for me to really say because every single place that we've ever been to, there's been activity. You know, I'm picking up the responses, and they're all equal but different. You know, because a lot of different things happen there, of course, and you know, all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of, like, the first place I ever investigated. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Bell Nursing Home. Did you ever hear that ever?
I've heard of this place. Yep.
It's no longer opened, but
oh, really?
No. It's actually been abandoned. Well, somebody I think bought it because sometimes I live an hour and a half from it. No, an hour and 20 minutes from the place. So once in a while, I'll go back there and just check on it and see how it is and everything. And I think somebody bought the place actually, but it was up for sale. But that was the first place I ever went to, and that place is highly, highly active. You know, now I will always say that place is close to my heart. One of the place because that was the beginning of the journey. You know, going to the first place I ever went to, but I can't really say a favorite because they're all equal to me. You know, they're all equal. They're just different. You know. But there's so many great places, so many great places.
Guys, I'll be right back.
Nick, you better not be burning that
I
dinner.
promise. I'll be just a minute or two.
Sure.
That's what I could be the.
Well, hey, David, what was your defining moment to go from regular investigating to spiritual?
Oh, well, I can tell you after my father passed away. I can't, it's hard to explain, but after my dad passed away, and at the time, an old girlfriend of mine, we were watching, the television shows and stuff like that. And I got intrigued. But it was really over my dad's death. Because see, when I was just a young boy, I remember my dad was telling me about this when I was really little. He told me about this church where these people would take a voice recorder, they would stick it down in the basement, and then they would get these responses, pick up voices.
Mm-hmm. And
I remember him telling me about that. And then lo and behold, way down the road, I end up doing that kind of thing. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I found that was pretty interesting. It was after my dad died, somehow, some way, it just kind of led me into it. Uh-huh. I don't know how to explain it though. I really don't, other than the interest was there. But again, the spiritual, the side that we take now, which is the Lord, that's what we base on. It's totally different now, of course, totally different. But I grew up in a Christian home anyways, so, but that doesn't necessarily mean I really didn't know anything, just because I grew up in it, at the time, but, I will say this though, that my dad's death though led me more into investigating. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep.
Do you know that's quite ironic because last week, was it last week? Yeah, it was last week. We had Bobby on, and when me and Bobby were talking, like yourself, well, really, this was the first time Bobby had ever done a show, and he was asking what it was about, what to ask, things like that. And when he was sitting telling me about himself, and it was his son's death that brought him to the paranormal. So it's quite ironic when you listen to people and their stories and how they came to the paranormal, and most of them, if not nearly all of them, has been some sort of loss has pulled them to the paranormal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just got dragged into it.
And when it happened,
I tried to walk away several times, but it never happened.
Well, believe me, you're not walking away because I've got that rope there tied, ready to swing like John Wayne. I'll be swinging that rope.
People get into it. Very interesting. I mean, mine personally, I grew up in a haunted house, so I didn't have a choice. So,
no, that they knew you were English as well.
No, they didn't.
I remember. I remember here at the house doing some investigating stuff, and I'll tell you what, there was activity for sure. But I believe it's everywhere. I believe it's everywhere. You could be in a brand new home. You know, the spiritual realm's everywhere. But I don't do it anymore. But I used to, you know, communicate here a little bit at the house and stuff like that. I don't do that now though, but I used to a little
Kelly.
bit.
Hey, Kelly. The spirit, then I want to trust you and connect. Definitely, Clifford. Kelly says recording is good front and behind you. So what made you stop doing it? Did you have an experience in the house, David, that stopped making you do it, or did you just have a change of heart?
Well, again, kind of, you know, I look at it this way, that evil has always tried to mess with me, you know, even as a young kid, man, just crazy, man. And a lot of, I believe that what would mess with me here, especially at the house, was bad anyways, you know, and that kind of thing. So I just stopped doing it because I have to live here, you know. Also, again, the majority of what I was messing with here was bad. So I didn't want to entertain it, you know, and I had no need to. But again, when I was doing this at the house, that was when I first started. When I very first started investigating. So I was excited, you know. I had some equipment out and it was going off and things were happening when I was asking questions. And you get excited. You're like, oh, this is awesome, you know. But I don't do that anymore. You know, now there was a couple times. I do believe that my dad was here a couple times, no doubt about it. Maybe more than a couple times. With some of the responses that I got, and one of them was actually in the room that I'm in right now. There's a light, and it was flickering on and off. And I remember I just felt compelled, and because I don't communicate here at the house really, but I felt compelled to. And I said, Dad, I said, honestly, you know, are you here? And the light was flickering on and off. But then I said, Dad, I said, if you're honestly here, I said, truthfully, if you're honestly here, I said, can you make this light go on and off? And sure enough, as soon as I did that, that light went on and off completely, you know?
Oh, wow.
So, and I had a feeling of peace there. You know, and then I've got a picture that I posted on Facebook actually before, that was, I believe was my father. I took a picture I was actually taking just a picture of some food that I made, you know what I'm saying? And was going to post it. And sure enough, it was going down the steps. You could see an image of my father, you know?
Wow.
And I still have that.
Oh.
I still have that to this day. So
That's
I
awesome.
never, yeah. So, you know, but I just don't get down with it at the house, you know, just because a lot of what I believe has messed with me is demonic anyway. So I don't want to entertain them. You know, I have no need to, you know, to entertain them.
No, I totally get it.
So Kelly actually had a question about that, saying, how did you stop it by not conversing? If she's saying that right, not conversing with it.
What do you mean? Like,
I'm not sure what she means by that.
Just
I
stop
think-
when you start talking to him.
Oh,
Yeah, I
talking
mean,
with them.
I take stuff home a lot of the time, and the best thing to do is ignore them, and then they go away.
Yeah, because
Well-
she also.
I think that's what she's asking.
well, again, I believe that we are always surrounded by good and evil. So you're never alone, you know, you're never alone.
No, but if you don't pay them attention, they will leave you alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
see what I did as a child though, was, you know, some pretty bad stuff. And you know, I used to be ashamed to talk about these things. I really was. Not anymore though. I've mentioned it many times when I go live, you know, on the Unseen Realm. But I, you know, I burned a Bible when I was really young. I burned a Bible, and I asked the devil to come into my life. I did this when I was really young. And I believe that when that happened, you know, not so much at the moment, but later on down the road, just bad things happened. Just a lot of, you know what I'm saying? Just a lot of bad things. I mean, and I believe 100% that I'm saved, you know, that I know the Lord Jesus. So that doesn't, you know, that's what I preach about. So I talk about, but though that experience, that's why I tell people all the time, you know, don't involve yourself with the darkness. Don't get into that stuff like that, because you're going to get bit, you know?
Yeah, we call it entering a contract. If you enter a contract with evil, then that's it. You've entered that contract. You're going to be pestered all your life.
Basically, the deal with the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call to God, He will help. It started with nothing, did you not? And then you took notice.
It started with nothing, did you not? And then, well, yes.
What caught your interest, basically?
Well,
She's saying yeah.
Yep, that's what she's saying.
What? Okay. Well, okay. Can you explain it again? I'm sorry. Can you explain it again?
Right. No, basically, what she's saying is it started with nothing, right? And you never noticed it, but then you noticed it. You took notice because more things were happening.
What attracted your attention first off?
The stuff that started in your house. What made you notice it?
Well, first off, I was doing. This was later on. Down the road, but I was doing incredibly bad things. I was marking myself. I was speaking in another language. That I was chanting, doing all kinds of things, hissing. Everything was just evil and intent. I wrote on the wall. And I really don't even like to say it because, again, it's shameful. It's that, but I did. I wrote, you know, F Jesus, and then a 666, and then a demon head. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible.
Yeah, something prompted that. Something started it. What kick-started it?
Well, again, what started it was demons. Absolutely. And what started that was I believe that attachment I had. Well, part of it. But again, what I'm saying is going back to what I did as a child, you know, it opened up a door one way or another. Now I know that now I'm freed from the enemy. I know 100% I am. In fact, our ministry is against him, 100% against him, you know? But when it comes down to what I did as a child, you know, through the years later on down the road, not so much when I was young, but when I got older, because my life just, it seemed like going nowhere, you know, and that's what evil likes to do. They like to keep you in a prison too. They like to keep you at bay, man. That's what they do. They like to keep you at bay. But what happened at that one point was a partial possession, I believe. Because I was definitely going through, I was doing some things that just were not normal at all, you know, not normal whatsoever. And the only thing that freed me from that, I believe, was the Lord and my faith. You know, that's it.
Did you guys? I was wondering what that whisper was coming from.
Was that Rita?
No, our tornado alarms are going off in the town. They're doing the testing of them.
Oh, the testing. Okay.
Right. Kelly's saying she's not being disrespectful. She's just trying to understand. That's totally fine. I know that none of you on this channel are disrespectful.
Oh, yeah. No. I'm just trying. I try to understand the questions. You know, I'm trying to You know,
I think
you're
happens to a
fine.
lot of us.
It happens to me especially all the time, so don't worry about it. I just smile at the questions. Cliff said, when we are young, we question about life. I too, when young, sold my soul to the devil. Kelly says, it's not gone. I'm sorry. If attachment, how did you get rid of it?
Oh, yeah, there's many ways to get rid of an attachment. I went to a spiritual healer. I don't know what David's done, but
well, I look at it. All I can say, and I tell anybody this because I've said it from the beginning, that the Lord and me and faith, believing in Him, knowing Him, that's what got me out of it. And again, I told you guys, you know, what you were talking about, the sleep paralysis and stuff like that. But, you know, see, because that only happened to me once that I can actually remember. You know, that's the only time that ever happened. I've had dreams, you know, and of course I don't remember half of them. But this was different. This was absolutely different. And I remember,
Hey,
Lauren. And like I said, I you know, the way it happened, you know, I honestly, personally believe it was a sign, you know, showing me, the Lord was showing me certain things there. But when it comes to an attachment and stuff, when it comes to an attachment and stuff, I don't really, I don't necessarily, I'm not trying to get rid of it. You know, all I can say is I trust the Lord, and He has helped me. Like I told you about whatever was messing with me, that evil things I was doing. I don't do it anymore. And I didn't do anything. I personally didn't do anything. But who else, you know, I know who did it, you know, that it wasn't me. It definitely was not me.
Excuse me.
So
Sorry.
What's a wish? Nick, what's your wish? Tell us your wish. Oh, please, oh, please.
I wish these allergies could go away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're an asshole, Nick.
What did you say?
is it basement dust allergy?
Basement
No,
dust.
it's
You
it's
get in
spring
that
allergies.
freezer.
It's spring allergies.
Oh, I like the cold.
No, I think
Kelly, stop
Twice,
sniffing that
remember.
stuff there.
I think everybody deals with attachments and negativity in different ways. It's horses for courses. Whatever works for you, basically. Some people look to the Lord. Some people look to themselves. Me personally, I look to me guide. Taught me a lot, a hell of a lot. And it made sense of things because things weren't making sense to me at that particular point. I was scared. For lack of a better explanation, I was scared to death because I didn't know what were happening. I couldn't make sense of it. So I looked to my guide and explained everything.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said in the paranormal field, if you've got a faith or a belief in something that is positive, it's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
No matter what it is.
And
Definitely.
just ignoring an attachment, they'll get bored and just go away too. You know.
Yeah.
It's happy dust allergies, no, it's Pablo Escobar stuff.
Yeah, it's coke.
well seen you're on the full fat.
I love it.
I've got the whiskey. I don't need full fat.
Are you drinking?
Yes.
Gin and Coke?
Whiskey.
Whiskey and Coke, okay.
Kelly.
Oh my God, you think you're mad.
That's all right. The whiskey overrides the Coke. Don't worry about it, Kelly.
Yeah. See what I'm going to put up with? Kelly says you need more than faith, maybe different ways, but a real attachment, you need more.
Sometimes depends on how bad it is.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Mr. Varro and myself here for, to get rid of them for you.
That's it. But I just want to thank David for coming. Thank you so much, David, for taking the time out and for coming on and sharing your experiences. Thank you so
Well, you know
much, my
what?
love.
You know what? I am, like I said, it's a privilege and honor to, to be able to be on here and to talk to you guys. And you guys are awesome. You know what I mean? Absolutely.
David,
Absolutely.
I gotta ask quickly, before we end this, but I'm actually going to be coming out to Ohio in another month soon because I'm actually
Nice.
I'm actually going to be going to, if you remember, I think I told you a few years ago about it, was ParasiteCon. They're having it at OSR, Mansfield Reformatory. And I'm not sure how far you are from that area, but if if you're not that far, I'm going to be there. So if you meet up, hang out,
Yeah,
you're more than welcome
I'll have to look into it. I think Mansfield. I think we're maybe like 45 minutes.
Oh, you guys are pretty close then.
An hour, maybe about that. Yeah, I never went to the reformatory actually. I inquired about renting the place out, but it was way too much. I mean, they wanted $2,000 to $3,000 to rent it.
Yeah, because we rented. Oh yeah, it's really expensive. We actually, I've been there several times, but it wasn't until last year that I finally got to go on an actual investigation at the prison, and that was where we had several people with us who were all paying the same price so we could afford this. So it's really one of those places that you definitely have to have a group. But for the condo, it's obviously way more cheaper. But just so you know exactly what it is, David, it's going to be on. It's about a month. It's a month from now. It's on May 20th to the 21st, which is a Saturday and Sunday.
Okay. Yeah, I'll see about it. See what I'm doing and everything. But yeah, that it sounds really cool though. Definitely. And I will say real fast, another prison. Just to give an example, that was cheap. You ever heard of Moundsville Prison?
Oh my God, Moundsville! I've never been there, but I know that place all too well.
well, when I inquired about that place, it was only $1,200 to go there, so that's quite a bit cheaper.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll have to look into it for sure.
My man's gaming. I do apologise. My man's on the PlayStation.
Yeah, Christine, you're not alone there. I'll tell you, we've had a lot of clients with the same issue. There are many teams that don't know what they're doing, let's just say.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I can't get over the pricing over there. Really? That's so expensive.
Come over here, David. We've got far more ghosts.
Yeah, they do.
Cheaper venues.
Yeah.
Don't go to English because you don't never ever leave.
I've got Alistair Crowley here, so there you go.
You guys
he said you were an English brick and all.
I think we're more scared of the living too.
Well, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know it.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Wangstein. This is the way us two go on a Friday night. I'm surprised we've got any viewers the way me and Ian carry on.
Scottish banter.
I still presume that you're English. But I just want to thank you so much, David, and thank you everybody, because I do realise you're just home for work. And I want to thank everybody in the chat, and thank you to the guys for being here tonight. And we've got a special guest, Kitty. Oh. But
Oh,
Next week, guys.
He kind of winked almost. The cat kind of gave like this wink look to it, like one of its eyes was shut. And that was cute.
That's because he was like, what creature do you have there down at the bottom in the middle? He's only English. But next week, guys, we have my good friend coming on, Stephen Daly. So I'm really looking forward to that as one. So if Ian thinks he's the only one that rips me, so does Steve. So I'm going to have a really hilarious.
Really well then.
Yep, the 2 years have got to eat me alive next Friday. I can feel it in my waters.
Well, I'd go to the doctor about that.
Yeah.
As Dan says, I have to go to the doctors about my crabs. You know. But everybody have a good weekend and thank you so much, guys. See you all next week.
See you
later.
Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye bye.
She can still hear you.